Alrighty, so we are here with the finals from the Perth. What was the official qualification? This was a
This was a
national
s-
qualifier.
this was a national qualifying event with 4 invites up for top four.
Yeah, so definitely a huge deal. This is effectively the same like reward at like for like national qualification as a Materia Cup, which is a huge deal, obviously, and super cool. I think it's one of the first large tournaments that's been done in Perth over there on the west coast of Australia. And we have our finals match here with Khalil and Paul, and they're both joining me in the call.
Hello.
Hello.
I would like to thank Good Games Cannington, who did host us for this. That's the official shop that ran the event up in Perth. So if you're there, please check them out and say hi and let them know how you found them.
Yep. Alrighty. And so you two were on some pretty fun decks. So Khalil, you were on Knights, I believe, right?
Yes.
Were you on pretty much aggro? Did you have a couple mid-range tools in there, or was it you're gonna try to punch his face in?
It was kind of a mix. Like I did my own version, but I think for most people, you'll see it's very similar to the one that won the Materia Cup, New South Wales here in Australia.
Makes sense. And then Paul, you're on your signature Cat 4 Rydia turbo deck as well, I believe, correct?
Absolutely.
I would expect nothing less. So I pretty. If you haven't seen the deck, lots of the full 3 copies of Rosa, something like 7 copies of Cecil. We've got the 3 copies of Rydia, along with a bunch of super crazy summons that she needed to play with her. Any really spicy text to keep an eye on, Paul, or is it going to kind of explain itself as we go through?
Not in the Knights matchup. The spicy tech is usually for similar like the Wall 4 matchup or Chaos Arc, which is the Mind Flayer.
Yep.
Because stealing like the value off their deck when you know that it has good value in it. Whereas with Knights, oh yeah, I got a Lilith. Yay.
That's the key to beating Mind Flayer. Just don't play good cards in your deck. The Knights has none of those.
Yeah.
But really, it's the archetypalness and kind of how it's locked into its own self. So I believe without any further ado, let's go ahead and start diving into the gameplay. So this should be a best of 3.
Yeah, it was a best of three. Paul and I decided to forego the deck check because we're locals. We play against each other twice to 3 times a week, and we had grinded quite heavily up until this date.
Makes sense.
So we both know each other's decks fairly well.
Yeah, inside and out.
I'm wondering if I might need to jump a little bit ahead in case there was some. Yeah, yep. I think we'll get from there.
All right, and who was higher in Swiss? Who was going first here?
That was myself, and I chose to go first.
Naturally. Yeah, I always like to say that when you go first as the aggro deck, it's kind of like you get to just break your opponent's first backup with like a hackathon cheer in a way. You're just so far behind the 8 ball if your opponent gets to go first against you in these matchups. So it looks like we're just finishing shuffling up.
Yeah, and Paul can quote me on this. The only real difference in terms of this event versus a Materia Cup is you get a trophy playmat versus a physical trophy.
Okay.
And I think, was it Terra was top 4 or top 8 for a Terra?
Top 8 for Terra.
Yeah, I think it's normally top 4 if I'm remembering Materia Cups correctly. But
No,
yeah,
it's top
this
No,
8
is.
for
Materia Cup
Terrace
is
and
top 8.
Materia Cup as well.
Yeah.
All right. Pretty interesting hands. I see on Paul's side a Rosa Cecil. There's a 0% chance this hand's going to the bottom of the deck.
There's also a Rydia there.
Yeah. You gotta
Oh,
enjoy this game.
I don't know that you could pick a better hand, to be
Yeah,
quite
I know.
honest. Uh,
Paul
Khalil
had a
leading
good
here
poker
with
face for this. I'll give him that. I did not even realize how doomed I was.
going with the Larsa for Ramsa, kind of telegraphing that we have a Corilla in hand here. But something that's kind of nice, Knights does like getting that first backup down. It is pretty important. And it means that Laswell, like if you played Corilla going first, you could hit Laswell and you'd have to dull freeze your own stuff. So this is going to make all those Ramses and Corellas for the rest of the game cost 1 less. It's going to get our consistency going, and it's going to kind of set up Paul in a position like a lose-lose situation now, where it's like the Corilla's coming this turn. So how do you deal with it? Well, that's about as good a start as it gets. The Rydia going into play for the Garnet. Now we've got to find the water card to get the Rosa into play. That's going to take the Rydia up to 4 counters. And we're going to just go full aggro. Yep, there's the King Tycoon for the Cecil. Rosa's going to draw a card, and we're going to take a point of damage off the Cecil entry, while also putting the Rydia on 6 counters. I imagine that Warrior of Light actually would have been a really insane draw as kind of a defensive tool. Obviously, you don't get the draw off of it, but you can cheat it into play with Cecil and just kind of put a big bungus in the way and kind of force Khalil to draw into the last wall. So here's the Corilla. This is going to be the roulette. That's the best hit possible right there. Oh dear lord.
I believe that he went into Corilla instead of the Ramza because he was anticipating that I had a Mist Dragon in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, also, even like if you get Amaterasu on it, the game immediately ends. There's a lot of like really nasty things that can happen if you go for it, and the Ramza leads to some really nice follow up as well.
Also, some context in our practice matches, Paul has always had the board wipe every time I've gone for the Corilla Ramza trick. So I'm kind of I've learnt against Paul's deck to go in waves, get it about 3. I don't need to go 4 forwards. I can survive with 3, put a bit of damage in, force the board wipe, then use the Ramza.
Oh, this is really sick, actually. So we go for 11-6. We bounce the Charlotte because it's the only thing we can target. But we get back the Garnet in the breakstone that we paid for the Rydia with. Now the Cecil's going to be able to deploy that same Garnet. So we get back the Leviathan if we wanted to. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so cool. And notably, this is also keeping Khalil. You've only got the 2 forwards in play now, as opposed to the full 3.
Yep.
Still have a Laswell in play. That's going to be a problem for Paul, but he's got his own turn to go for it if he wanted to. And also, Cecil is a huge pain in the butt for you. Yeah, not even opting to pay the Cecil tax for the dull freeze. I mean, why would you?
At this point, Cecil's more there for the discard, hopefully.
Top deck Remora.
Sure.
Even Paul's not proud of that.
Let's just delete the thing.
Emmy in hand, I think, from memory.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
And now it's, I mean, we can attack with the Corilla safely here, which is a little bit annoying for Paul. But I mean, Paul's got a full grip and 4 forwards on the field. Take the damage here. We're okay with that. And it's a burst, too. Oh, my goodness.
If my memory is correct, you have what, like 20-something bursts, Paul?
20, I think it's 20 or 21. Yeah, pretty high number.
And from experience with this deck as well, if you have the Rosa Cecil and then Cecil hits a burst that draws you a card, you feel like an absolute god.
Oh, I've seen that Cecil hit Tyro so many times.
Mm-hmm. Discarding to the Laswell at the end of the turn. Not opting to use the Leviathan. I'm guessing you have the Amat and you kind of feel ahead at this point. Like, as long as you don't kind of put the shields down for him.
And I think from memory, the only water target in the break zone was Rosa. And it, like, what was going on from my head at this point? Like, I knew that he had the Ramza in hand still. Most likely having fire CP. I was a bit worried about Miwa. Because I know that he runs 2 copies of the card.
Right.
I'm trying to remember what I did here.
Looks like we're just going to get a Lena into play.
That's right, yeah, because I was attacking and just hoping he hit in the Expo, so we share value.
So Leviathan put the Laswell back in hand. I mean, I imagine he's going to come back down in a little bit anyway. Oh, actually, maybe not with the Amat in hand. Kind of a funny thing about playing against Knights, Corilla is a massive problem card and kind of a headache to deal with, but you don't want to kill her either. Attack. We're going to get 4 attacks in here if we want to. There's the Garland. I mean, he has to take the burst here, I imagine, even if it gives Paul a drop due to the Lena.
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous this game in the final, so I was like hesitating, like picking wrong stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty fair mistake to make. You know, half the deck is almost every board in the deck is a knight, so
Well, like I said, I was aiming more just the first ice card I saw, and then I'm like, wait, that's not an ice knight. And then I changed my mind when I looked through the bin properly.
And then have we used the Rydia this turn yet?
Yeah, it was used on a Leviathan 6.
That's right, yeah, Lev 6.
The last
Okay.
vote.
I saw the Mist Dragon in hand, was wondering if it was going to get cast with the Rydia for free. And then just discarding the hand size. Just, I don't need it.
It's weird seeing
Yeah.
this kind of matchup against knights. It almost looks like it's the reverse.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the advantage of the Cecil Rosa package like this, though, is it does sometimes just is able to put a bunch of bodies on the field and kind of create problems for the opponent in the same way that knights can. So you have this like weird control shell that also has the ability to create a board state like this. This is a fully protected field that once per turn gets to cast a summon for free, and also just represents lethal if nothing else happens here. So we're going to pay the 7 for the Rams. So we're going to target the Laswell. I imagine this is going to be the fastest Amaterasu of our lives.
I believe it's Mist Dragon.
Oh, we're just going to pay for the Mist Dragon even.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that as well, I'll be honest.
Yeah, because I was holding a, was it Levy 6 or an Amat? Because I didn't have a fire card to cast the Amat. Whereas like I had the FCP for the Mist Dragon and was expecting a Laswell to come down, I think it was.
Right, so you're going to Amat the Laswell and Mist Dragon the Break Zone. So just
Yeah,
use two different summons and basically
And he actually
lock the game up.
plays Charlotte with, I think he's holding 3 cards in hand. I'm like, hang on a second, he's trying to end phase. I'm sure he has a
Yeah, I was
Laswell
baiting.
in hand. Because if I was going to use my Leviathan 6 on the Charlotte now, he goes back to end of main phase 2, pitches the Charlotte to play the Laswell, and then I'm discarding a card because the Gorilla attacked.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're
Almost
pretty
got
happy
me.
to pass up the Rydia value here. Just
Yeah,
you know,
and
like
that's exactly
the
what I
board
did.
is, yeah, the board's not threatening you at all. Why does it matter?
Yeah.
So draw 2 more. This Rydia has gotten so much value. And notably, Knights is one of the few decks that does not have a way of casting Cloud, which has been kind of the bane of Rydia's existence since it was printed.
Mhm.
So you can feel pretty confident that she's not going to go anywhere unless we get this Ramsut fully powered up.
And I also think in like this setup against knights, them using the Ramser on your Rydia, you're kind of not too fussed.
Oh, I still care.
Yeah, but compared to like how much power you have, like with Une, that Cecil, them having to waste it on that first, your probably cheapest card.
Get back the Rosa for about the 4th time. The same Rosa has just bounced back and forth from the field of the break zone just to be the pickup target for the Leviathan. We did burn quite a bit of gas last turn. Like this Amat, we're going to discard the Amat.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess we can get another one with the Thornton here is the logic.
What did I grab?
I think
This is
he's
a
going
Mist
for
Dragon?
lethal.
Oh,
Yeah, he
we're going
grabs
to
the
go for
Une for lethal.
Then we can go for the Une and try to go for the kill. And yeah, there's not any real bursts in Knights. It's going to stop this lethal from going through, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to remember what he did, and like, yeah, he grabbed the. That's why I was thinking of Une when I mentioned it before. I'm like, yeah, I think this is where he grabbed the Une to basically wipe my field. I'm on 4 damage. He's got an army. Not much I
Yeah,
can
so
do.
I know that Killer has the Waterfire Steiner in hand. I'm like, surely you're not holding a Miwa. I think I said it out loud here.
Yeah, I guess Miwa would be the punish, wouldn't it? If you go for lethal here with Miwa, the Rydia shield is down. You don't have any cards in hand. There's no Mist Dragon. Or Amaterasu. I guess the nice thing is even if you go for that, as long as you attack with Rydia last, maybe you lose the Rosa or something, but you're not too fussed about that in comparison to anything else. Yeah. So this would be where the Miwa would happen if Khalil had it.
I did do it, but it was actually a mistake. I should have let the Rosa through.
Oh, really? Oh, because you want to attack with the... You want to
'Cause
block the Cecil or the...
Yeah, I should have blocked something big. I will admit I panicked a little bit and I played the Miwa early. Because going between 5 to 6 does not really matter.
Right. And yeah, the two value targets haven't attacked yet between either the Riddy or the Cecil would have to go down if the Miwa is in hand.
Yeah. So I will own that 100%.
And Paul has no cards in hand here, so if we can get this Une to be dull frozen, we can kind of block this Rydia on having no value. So this is the punish for going for lethal last turn, as opposed to kind of a more conservative play of kind of holding multiple Amats and making sure that Khalil really would, we try to go to end the game, which is obviously good. If you win the game, you win the game. But this is the danger of that.
Yeah, bouncing the Ramza did not feel good, but I was like, I have lethal as long as there's not a Miwa in hand, and there was a Miwa in hand.
Yeah, and unfortunately the last swell was exiled.
And we also don't have enough cards in hand. You're out of cards in hand as well, so you couldn't dull freeze the Une even if you could, unfortunately. Yeah. I guess you could if you hard played the Laswell, but then you still have the same problem of here's a bunch of big bunguses. I guess Corilla does take damage less than him.
Corilla,
yeah, you're in kind of an awkward spot regardless. You're one night away too from having the Ramza.
Wouldn't be able to target though because of the Cecil.
Yeah, the Cecil is putting in a lot of work by basically making your entire field untargetable right now. But we do have a lot of big bodies to get over, and getting over a 9K doesn't take damage less than its power is a problem for us here. And this is like the one downside that
the Charlotte is a worse threat because the Charlotte is a 7K that takes 2K less that then becomes 0.
That's true.
That's why I played the Charlotte.
Yeah, they're both problematic, honestly. And that is the other thing that I remember when I was playing this deck in the past is that sometimes Rydia, because a lot of your bodies are very small, the Rosa is I believe a 3K. Rydia is a 5K, Forum's only a 4K. A lot of your bodies are relatively small. Getting over just a 9K Brave doesn't take damage less than its power can be a very weird problem for you on occasion.
When I saw him put that Ami to the top, I actually got excited, and then he did the right play. Like, oh, is he going for the Ami? Yes, ignore Leviathan. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, like I wanted Remora, but having to target the Charlotte, it was not dying to the Remora.
Yeah.
Like even if I drew the cards for turn.
Unfortunately, Khalil's still in the awkward situation of not having a card in hand, because otherwise you could consider using the Ramza to pop.
He bounced the Charlotte.
Yeah. But I mean, you have the 4 knights in play at one point.
Yeah.
Although if you do that, you might be shields down enough to actually just die on the clapback. So maybe you can't even go for that if you did.
No, I couldn't. I was doing that math. I'm like, I can't even. I'd have to block very carefully and then use it at the right moment, giving myself the leeway. But
yeah,
unfortunately, this is. Yep.
And here's. Yep. Tidus being used in a relatively intended way in an actual water deck. Card tends to get poached in a lot of other places.
Yep.
The Knight's deck is running 1, but it's usually the first LB to go.
I was going to say, I saw Brendan cast one of them in Wollongong, but usually it's not even a card I see in limit break decks for Knights.
It's flickers between Titus and the Zac.
Yeah. So deciding on modes for the Tidus, get to pay 3 on entry, choose a forward, goes to the bottom, choose a backup, goes to the top, and then draw 2 cards. So we get to kind of cycle away a card in hand. Looks like we're going to go for a Leo here as well.
Nope. Mott.
Oh, Mott. Okay, that makes sense as well. Make all of our 4s really big.
Yeah, because really hasn't been used yet.
Also allows us to use the Une and attack and get the summon back in the same turn. Now we're going to use the Rydia and once again cast the Lev 6 again.
Yeah. I'm just taking the damage here.
Attacks with Rydia for game.
Yeah, I shook his hand because that was such a good, like, it was just such a good game.
So that was what, five levy sixes passed.
I need to get the counter up again.
How much did you pay for that?
0.
I think
I
the
think
3D card
Balanced.
might be okay.
I think the only summon he actually paid for was the Mist Dragon.
Mist Dragon.
I think that's the only summon he actually.
Which in
properly
hindsight,
paid
he
for.
actually didn't have to pay for.
That is true, but I was playing around specifically
Yeah, Laswell
a
entry.
last
Yeah,
roll coming down.
yeah. It's still just funny to think about. But I mean, this is kind of interesting because I don't know what kind of. I mean, obviously you two play each other a lot, so you kind of know how the matchup's going to go.
So,
But like, do you make
sorry.
any different adjustments this game? Do you do you have think okay, I need to go faster? Do you try to go slower? What's the? Do you just say he simply will not top deck Rydia, Cecil, Rosa
I
with
think
Lev 6 in hand?
we got a bit of time to chat because I think Paul he does a quick trade with someone. So for me, we had a match. We played the night before because we were staying together, right?
Right.
Based on that math, and that's only a once of. It was about 6 wins to Paul, 2 wins to me.
Okay.
But I somehow managed to pull the win in Swiss to get into the top cut.
Yeah, I got decimated in Swiss. So what was it, turn one? I think it was a backup pass on his side. I played backup pass. He goes Ramza, Karilla, Laswell, Charlotte. My backup's frozen. I overpay for a King Tycoon, I think. And then my damage 1 is a Matoya. I'm like, oh yeah, this is how this game is going. Cool. And abruptly lost 7-0. Yeah, sorry about this. This doesn't take too long, don't worry.
No, guys. I would have skipped otherwise, but I'd like give us a bit of time to chat about that last game. For me, I definitely am versing Paul, not the deck. Only real change I make is, as I said, I try and attack in waves. I try and not go for that Ramza Karilla and commit everything to the field. I like to play, Karilla forward, hold the Ramza, or try and have 2 Karillas. Karilla first, wait for the board wipe, Karilla second. Try and just go in those little stages and not fully commit to a board that's going to die and I lose.
And the other thing that did happen last game as well, I mean, the Karilla hit was about as good as it gets, but it is one of the rare Karilla hands that doesn't generate any advantage necessarily beyond putting the last well on field. You didn't get to like draw cards or get anything back. I think a lot of people have an argument that like getting Delita last well is actually better because the Delita actually kind of draws you a card in addition.
That was actually how I beat Paul. He had Cecil out. I Ramza Karilla'd, got the Delita to get a card to tap the 4 and pay the tax.
Ramza
how our game 1 would have gone though. Sorry. With our game 1, like when you did the Karilla instead of the Ramza Karilla because you were scared of Mist Dragon, like I am wondering how that game would have gone instead if you had done Ramza Karilla.
Yeah.
If you just say he doesn't have the because the other problem with Mist Dragon in the matchup is Ramza loses to Mist Dragon and Amaterasu. Karilla only loses to Amaterasu.
Yes.
Which is a big difference because you're doubling the number of outs that your opponent has. Right here, I'm very surprised to see that you didn't just go. I mean, did you not have a water card in hand for the Gawain? I'm just surprised to see like the raw Gawain Ramza.
I
for Gawain.
think I only had 3 cards. I don't think I could have played it. Where now I can.
So we're gonna get the attack in here. There's a Cecil. We're looking for a burst, and we hit it. Natural. I mean, sometimes you're just simply better at the game and want it more,
Like I said, against Paul, I know the EXs are there. I can't be scared of them because they're gonna exist. They're gonna exist first, and they're gonna exist later. So I can't really play around that. But luckily, I did have the last well to at least get rid of that value he just generated.
And the fun thing about Laswell, if you haven't realized this, is that Laswell doesn't need to see the attack happen. He just needs to know that a knight attacked the end phase.
Yeah, he needs to see the end phase, not the actual attack.
So we are able to kind of lock out all the value. Like Paul literally searched a king and discarded a king and got nothing out of the back that he played. He's in the exact same situation he was in, except now there's a much more threatening board than a Gawain on Khalil's side of the field.
I am holding a Toto though for when the board gets a bit more bigger.
Right. But I mean, you have to commit something here, and the problem is a lot of what you commit is going to end up getting kind of locked out of the game anyway. So
Yeah,
we're
I think I
pitching 2 for an
overplayed
Ico. That's going to get us a Rydia. Coming in full art in about a week, by the way.
Yep.
Yep.
Someone's excited for that.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Paul's wallet is not very excited for
I've made measures.
that.
Paul doesn't care about money. He just wins events.
The measure is just booking trips to other events. All right, so we open our hand.
Well, most of the
we
time
split
that Juicy Terror pays for the... yeah, I just said, can I swap the attacks? Because I realized I made a mistake there.
and there's the Cucullin. I will tell you, if you had the letter,
yeah, even Paul's
really
like, yes. I was just like, yep, I'm done here. Cucullin hits last well, draws you a card instead of discards you a card. You went from -1 to +1.
And on top of that, you also lose the Dull Freeze off of the Gawain entry.
Yep.
So you're also not really able to lock him out of the game in the same way. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure there's a better burst you could have hit.
Both times, I think.
I didn't really want to bounce the Gawain back to your hand, but I couldn't afford taking the extra point of damage.
We're on damage 4. Now, notably, the Cecil reduction is going to start to be a little scary for us here. If we go for the reduced cost, you don't want to end up in a situation where you just accidentally die. There's the Shantoto. It's going to remove all the forwards on the field from the game.
I would like to note that those last 3 cards you see in my hand are all Corilla.
I mean, sometimes you just have it, right? On the bright side, you can't reveal Corilla with Corilla. You've only got live hits in deck.
Yeah. So this started off as a really good hand, but it's going to turn on me very quickly.
So right here, I imagine we're trying to decide if we need to commit more to the field. We're probably scared of a Corilla follow-up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was worth Leoing to dig for a card or to just basically leave the 4 cards in my hand. Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about not committing here is you do kind of represent a Mist Dragon potentially, even if it's not in hand, which could kind of scare, or like an Amaterasu potentially if you had a fire card in hand. And that's a couple of options. I mean, the Gawain is interesting. We played Gawain 3 times now, though. We've got to be running low on fire or knights in deck, and searching the Lilith here, I think, might give away a little bit on the fact that we're kind of running low on good targets. Are we out of Ramses, by the way? I'm surprised we didn't search for one, or did we not have one in hand? Khalil?
I, somehow being the bad yet somehow good player I am, instinctually knew there was a Mist Dragon in that hand, and I'm like, I am not touching Ramza this game. And Paul is sitting there going, Ramza, 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 Ramza. He was very frustrated at me after the tournament when we both discussed this. But yes, I knew he had a Mist Dragon in hand somehow, and I'm sitting there going, I don't think I'm going to be able to resolve anything from the bin.
So did you ever consider warping the Ramza? That's actually like kind of the thing that I started seeing Knights players do to play around the potential of a Mist Dragon is, well, I might lose the break zone, but the Ramza's going to come in for 2 CP as opposed to for 7.
Yeah,
A lot less of a gotta have it moment, but like still very powerful potentially.
my hand is all water with all the Corillas.
Gotcha.
So I was very much like, I can't even warp it. I might as well just go to 5 cards, 2 Corillas in hand. If 2 more kill spells come in, I can just keep going with the Corilla. Ami stops me getting up to 2 forwards, but it doesn't kill the Corilla.
Paul's sitting on a very full grip here as well.
Yeah, like I'm not in the best spot, but I feel I have enough recovery.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if this gets wiped again, you just play another Corilla, which has to feel pretty nice. Really deep in the tank. And to be fair, I mean, Paul is 2 turns away from dying.
Mm-hmm.
So
Could be
we
one
can
of the
go
Rumble
for a
round.
Tyro for Warrior of Light, but if we do that, we're cutting ourselves out of ever casting a Cecil for the reduced cost, which is really annoying. So I don't know if we really want to do that. I see Rydia Rosa in hand, which is very powerful because it does turn the Rydia online. That can make that the Amaterasu in hand free.
I think I was 1 CP off of Rydia Rosa Cecil, like Tyro Rydia Rosa Cecil from memory. Trying to make it work.
Yeah, you did mention like when you were counting those cards, you did go, damn it, 2 CP off, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
I can't see what the
Actually,
search
not
is.
what
It
that
Warrior
is.
of Light?
I don't remember.
Hopefully we'll get a better look at it.
It looks like it is Warrior of Light. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Warrior of Light's online for next turn, but that is a next turn. Knights is not known for haste, though. I guess is the one nice thing in this situation for Paul.
Yes.
And I think I was just hoping that he didn't have the Laswell, because otherwise, yeah, my backup's just frozen. I can't play the War of Light regardless.
That's also a big risk as well. Yeah, if Laswell comes down here, we freeze just the Tyro, and it's really, really bad for you.
I lost 3 wind Cecils to the damage zone.
Uh,
Yeah, I
you
got
do still have the 1 copy of the Water one, I believe, normally?
Sorry?
You have the 1 copy of the Water Paladin?
That's correct.
So you do have something you can do with it, at least. It's not ideal, though.
And I think if I remember correctly, I topped the Ramza. So I think I'm considering it here, but I went a little bit slower.
We're going to go for Lilith. This is going to put just another forward on board. If we have a second Lilith, it is also a removal spell, which can be pretty
No,
potent.
it was Gwaine. I drew the Gwaine, so I just saw it. Yes, I was for a moment going, can I cast the Gwaine to search the Ramza? And then I'm like, wait, Gwaine's on the field. No, I cannot.
Not finding the Laswell. It's kind of unfortunate. It means this Warrior of Light's going to go in. I almost wonder if Khalil has that much Rossi. You consider it there?
I do run it. I didn't have it.
Right.
In one game, I actually, in the day before, in the semis, versus Knight, I had all 3 of them in my hand with fire cards to cast them individually. And yeah, this is where things take a turn for me.
So we have the Rydia entering play. Now we have the Rosa. Now we're going to have to pay the full 5 for the Cecil. And very much... I almost wonder, do you consider...
Yeah, this is the story that I play here.
Oh, Fusoya? Okay. Hilariously, Fusoya does not need a water card, and it doesn't check number of colors. It just checks for colors, the kind of colors that are not water. So it interacts very, very powerfully with Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be able to, all the modes, draw a card, return a summon from the break zone to the hand, put a forward on top of its owner's deck, and return a character to its owner's hand. Or if we got all the modes, which I don't, we did, yeah, because we discarded an Amaterasu for it, it looked like. So it was Amat, Fire, Earth, Lightning, and Light CP. So you definitely got all the modes.
Yeah.
Whatever element you wanted to generate with Shantoto and Tyro work, but as long as they aren't water.
And yeah, the thing that turned on me is normally Paul is quicker to kill my board. It took him longer than I expected to get rid of the Corilla. And having the 3 actually hurt me a lot.
Yeah, so I had the Mist Dragon in hand and hadn't used Rydia's summon that turn. But I just had a feeling that he was holding a Corilla, and if I banished the break zone now, and he goes arms a pitching Corilla, that I was basically just dead. So I needed to be able to respond to it.
Makes sense. Was there ever any consideration to stacking the Fusoya back to your own deck, so you draw it next turn and get to do it again?
There was, but I was scared of Miwa.
Yeah, he ammies the Gwaine.
And I'm holding a Mist Dragon and I think enough CP to cast it. And then he goes Corilla instead of Ramza, and I'm like, that's not Ramza.
Like I said, I was not going for Ramza that game. I just had a
I
feeling.
mean, that's a lot of little baby knights, which is kind of what you want to see with Corilla. We're going to get 2 dull freezes here on probably the 2 biggest bodies. And now Paul's still in kind of an awkward situation. I mean, we got a lot of top decks that are very live here. But our biggest block, nothing we have blocks Corilla or even, honestly, the Physalis cleanly. So looks like I see a Mind Flayer. It's exceptionally weak in this matchup in particular because, again, so much of the strength on Khalil's deck is archetypal. You know, stuff that looks for knights, plays with knights. You know, like a Marrowweb or something would be really potent, but I don't know.
That's what he usually gets. He gets Marrowweb or the Lhasa when he Mind Flayers this deck.
I mean, if you're just simply good with Mind Flayer, it's the best card in the game, I guess.
No, I definitely had some whiffs with it in Swiss. And usually against knights, there really isn't much to grab.
Instead, we're going to go for the Remora. Going to try to lower the number of bodies on Khalil's side of the field.
Oh, and the pink dice is just to show that Rydia's summon has been used for the turn.
Makes sense, yeah. You got to get you a coin or something. That's what they usually use in Pokemon for once per turn effects. This looks like a Tidus.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4 backups. 1, 2, 3, 4 forwards. So even a removal spell doesn't do it. We're going to go ditch the Mind Flayer. Again, just not amazing in the matchup. It's going to allow us to. Oh, I guess you top deck. This is kind of an awkward one because if you top deck Corilla,
bottom decks.
A bottom deck Corilla. Okay. So, but you don't really want to leave the last ball on the field. I guess it depends on where the other Corillas are. You know, we have seen, I guess, all 3 of them. So we hit the Corilla to the bottom of the deck. Then you can offer a trade with the last well with the Rydia if you wanted to. Or you could just sit here with kind of as we are. There's also an option. You go for just a Leo, get an extra body out and play.
No, he gets the Cloud.
Oh, overpaying for the Cloud by using the backup as well.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't
No,
Cloud.
it was Cloud.
Oh, it's Mott. So we're bigger than the last ball.
Oh, it was Mott
with Rydia.
I didn't have the CP to cast the Cloud. I used the Tyro. What did I use it? Oh, as part of the Tidus cost.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, no backups for the anymore. You are correct. But this does put another big body on field. It's just.
Then he just Mind Flayers.
I probably should have done Cloud there instead.
Yeah, but if you couldn't do it, if you didn't have enough, you didn't have enough. I was wondering. I thought that was the Cloud for a second. But yeah, it doesn't matter because you got the. Yeah, and I just pull out the deck going, just let's finish this.
Oh, there's those Amaterasus we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
What a really interesting match. It's kind of.
And I had 3 different colors. I had ice, fire, and water in hand, and it's like at that last turn, like, yeah, I can't even put a body down. Leo's not gonna do much.
And it's such an interesting thing about this format. I mean, we talk about Knights being one of the premier decks in the format, and I mean, honestly, I thought the Rydia days were over after Dawn of Heroes. Especially with Cloud LB, but Paul's still making it work somehow. I don't know how still.
Nah, Paul is a sensational player, and I was saying this on the day, he'd come like 2nd and 3rd at every Materia Cup. He finally was deserving of this.
All right. No, what a fantastic match. And again, thank you both for kind of having me to kind of moderate this and kind of give a bit of play-by-play and try to elucidate some of the thoughts. Because, again, these decks, I think one of the coolest things about Knights, in particular as an aggro deck, is the more you play, there's a lot of different ways to play this deck. I've seen different players like, oh, I've never warped Ramza, and then you'd watch Brendan play in Wollongong, and Brendan, most common turn 1 play was, I'm going to go Gawain, search Ramza, warp Ramza on the first turn of the game.
I have warped Ramza since then, and it has done work in that sense. Like, I'm trying to combine a little bit of the tactics I'm seeing and trying to find this sort of middle ground, unpredictable sort of, you don't know which version I'm going to go for sort of thing.
Yeah, but I think that's like really cool. The deck has enough skill expression and decision making where you have, and you know, I'm talking this through as the game's going. There were multiple different lines, you know, and kind of trying to make decisions based on what summons Paul has in hand, and likewise, Paul has to play in a pretty tricky matchup to navigate because I mean, I don't think Paul really wants to play against aggro decks most of the time. I imagine.
That's why there's 20 EX bursts in the
Yeah,
deck.
it's good.
Case in point. So yeah, no, it's super fun to watch, super fantastic. So
No, and once again, I want to thank Good Games Cannington who hosted. I want to thank you, Ghoul, if you want to plug yourself quickly for your channel.
yeah, I'm Ghoul SRL on YouTube or Ghoul02 on Twitch and just about everywhere else. I do a lot of speedrunning and I do also a lot of Final Fantasy TCG content. So
And if you want to get a review for the top 8 deck lists, you're going to go have to sub to his channel because that's going to be hopefully coming out at some point. I'm not going to say when because this is a recording.
in the near future, or it could be already out. Who knows?
Yep. I also want to thank Paul for joining us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. It was great. And if you're wherever platform you're watching this, press all the good buttons or press all the bad buttons and leave a comment. Just say hi, and if you enjoyed the game and enjoy FF, I'd love to hear from you. We have a Discord as well, so if you guys can join that, that'll be great. You get to talk to a lot of the Australian players and get to see our side of the world and our sort of thought process of deck building. Otherwise, thank you. Bye.